Fibre with Steve Brooks and Stephanie Lester. This is a strange place, isn't it?
I was going to say, have you remembered how to do this?
Strange in many ways. We've failed ourselves in that we've taken so long to do another one. In the time it's taken, we've got 4 new prime ministers and probably three new monarchs in the time. We've certainly living in a different world.
Well, we certainly got. I think, in case you can tell, there's a bit of an echo in the room.
Bit of an echo.
Yeah.
That's because we are furniture free. This is a furniture free zone, folks. You are finding us camping in our own house.
Yeah, how to camp in your own home.
Yes,
quite nice actually.
It is. The saga of the move goes on. There's a song there somewhere.
Well, it's a nice saga, isn't it? So
it's been a bit of a bumpy saga.
I know, but
I'm trying to think when these good folks last heard from us.
Well, we certainly wouldn't have been going for Blend Foss.
No, of course not. No, it was Merlin Barn we were going for then, wasn't it? So, a little bit of an update, folks. The barn conversion we were going to be moving into fell through. Not the barn didn't sort of fall through.
Collapsed,
the gentleman, and I will use that as the only...
No, it's all worked rather well.
It has worked rather well for us. It's worked well because we lost it. The guy who was selling it pulled out at the 11th hour, day before we're due to sign to exchange. For tax purposes, he took all his properties off the market. Obviously, he wasn't as au fait with tax law as he thought he was. I think
there have been some changes as well. So,
I think he was just trying to squirrel some cash away without paying HMRC their due. But anyway, it's all worked out rather well because this has taken longer to go through the sale of this place, hasn't it? Because our buyer is moving rather large sums of money around the world and it's taking a bit longer.
It always takes longer than you think it's going to take. Anyway.
In the meantime, we found what we call the Mary Poppins
We do. The Mary Poppins property, yeah.
If we could have thrown a letter in the fire grate...
no, you don't throw it in the fire. You pop it up the chimney.
Oh, okay.
And it goes up on Mary Poppins.
Film, by the way.
Yeah.
For all the films I have seen Mary Poppins.
You have seen it, right, okay. Shame you can't remember you didn't throw it into the fire grate then.
Well, okay, up the chimney with all what we want, all our requests on it, and we got him in this lovely... We'll fill you in more details on that when we get there. So for the time being, we are living in a very echoey house with no furniture, apart from the furniture we're sat on here.
And final selling off of final bits.
Yes, we've dropped the price. It's a bargain basement at the moment. We've dropped the price of all the little bits we're selling. And,
Getting ready to go and stay with my brother.
Yes, we're going to be going down to Glastonbury, not to the festival.
No.
I think probably a little bit too old for the Glastonbury festival.
Well, I think it's the wrong time of year as well, but apart from that.
But we are going to stay with your brother. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be really nice.
Yeah, I've got my earmuffs ready. Because you and your brother together, you thought Steph was loud enough. Oh, you get the two of them together. Blimey. That is something to...
it is.
To literally shout home about.
Yes, literally. Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah, he's the male version of you.
Yeah.
In every possible sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But I shall enjoy every minute of it.
We'll enjoy it, yes. It's lovely of him to welcome us into his home when we get down there.
Yeah.
And he'll probably be wishing what the hell he's done when he gets there.
Well, the thing is, we were originally thinking after the barn fell through that we would go down there and then start looking for a property. So we were thinking we'll be dashing off to Wales or wherever, because we did actually cast our net a bit wider, didn't we? We thought, well, perhaps we'll end up in Somerset, perhaps we'll end up in Cornwall. So we threw open the net wider, but we ended up still coming back to Wales in a slightly different part, as in further towards the coast.
Yes, it's only half an hour from Cardigan Bay. It's beautiful, beautiful.
So it takes another 30 minutes type thing to get there from here, doesn't it?
God, you do sound echoey. You do sound echoey. I'm trying to get my mouth quite close to the microphone so it's not so echoey. But so
it's a good effect.
So I can't remember how this works. Not technically.
Usually we chatter on and then you go to the list of things that we've written down. I think it's like going to the loo.
I've just been to the loo, so we've got no danger of that.
You go to the list of things, and the thing is, we've written some of these things down a long time ago, and we may not actually be able to remember.
Yeah, this is just for those of you that don't remember, because it's been so long. Whenever we say anything during the normal course of life that either of us find remotely funny, Sometimes we're on the floor, kicking our legs in the air, laughing. Although that's probably not doable.
Won't be able to get up, to be honest.
No, we help each other up. We then put a little note on my notes on the phone to let us...
But not with enough detail.
No. So the first one was a headline.
Oh my God. Yes, this headline.
This is the way we're going to start this podcast.
Yes.
So if you're of a sensitive disposition, you'll probably turn off now. If you've never heard us before, this first news article will determine whether you stay with us or whether you think, oh my God, this is disgusting. I'm not going to be... This is a genuine news article that went out.
Yeah.
And it goes like this. It says, woman rode motorbike naked, got fingered in the street and punched a blind man. Addicted to butane. Now,
well, to be honest, you know how many times I hate like the Sun headlines and things like that when they always say Judi Dench's furious, and you get in there, it's because she stubbed her toe or something. It's got nothing to do, and it annoys me. And I read that headline, and you sort of go, it can't mean that.
No,
it absolutely cannot mean that. And you got down and read the story, and yes, it did.
Yes,
because it was the judge which actually summarised it, wasn't it?
This is the judge's summary.
This is the judge's summary, and you just sort of go, no.
There's not much more we can say about it because she was addicted to butane.
She was.
Whether or not you use that as an excuse for her behaviour, I don't know. But I think, was it the blind man that was fingering her in the street?
No. She was basically offering services and things, and so, but she was naked and
on a motorbike,
and then a gentleman. She was. I think the first complaint was because they were in the street, being and then I think somebody came past and said something. It was probably a blind man, and she punched him or something.
He'll probably get out of my way.
He obviously had no idea.
Twice now.
He had no idea what was going on.
So do prostitutes no ride motorbikes?
I've got no idea.
It's like Deliveroo, isn't it?
It was
just eat.
It was just hilarious that it was the judge's summary, which you just sort of thought, I suppose there was no other way of putting it, really.
No. We've come a long way from red light districts. You can now order one, apparently. And it comes on a motorbike. Literally, it comes on a motorbike.
You see, you always go too far, and it's just not funny.
I think
you go too far.
Listeners would. You're a snapping turtle. You are sometimes.
Oh, yes.
That's another thing we talked about, wasn't it? Oh, yes.
Generally, like at this moment in time, I'm extremely irritated by you.
Oh, right.
And usually you say something, and you may not have even said anything offensive. You may not even be thinking anything offensive, but I'm on it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what it was. It was the lack of meditation that sometimes does it. That's right. And I can always tell when you haven't meditated in the morning. Because when we go on our walk, before we got to the end of the road, I feel as though I've been... Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds?
Yeah.
Where they come down and... I feel like that some mornings.
Well, you said it's like a slapping turtle, and so I don't know who's going to come over the microphone, but I do a little sound, which is my little snapping turtle.
That's what we do now to get the levity back in, and rather than...
It would help if you didn't say stupid things, but
then we wouldn't have a podcast.
No, I think we still would.
Yeah, it'd be boring, wouldn't it? And then you pointed out to me the other week as well about this new fashion trend.
Oh my God.
Now, I wasn't aware of this. I wasn't aware of this fashion trend. We were going down the road, folks, and I didn't see it because I was driving, got my mind on the road and being a good driver that I normally am. And you made my God, look at her. And apparently a girl walked past with a string vest on. Quite literally, it's just a string vest.
Well, obviously she had trousers on as well, but on top. It was just a string vest. Now, so basically you could see everything. Now, the young lady was a very fit young lady, and, there was nothing untoward about... She had a very charming body, but it just seemed odd in the middle of Stratford.
Charming body.
Very odd in Stratford to be walking down the road basically with your tits out. And so I'd said to
presumably
you, I'd seen a lot of this, like in the red carpets and things, and there's the naked dress. And I remember back in the day when someone who had a very attractive underwear on under the see-through dress, but now it's about not actually having underwear on under your see-through dress. I mean, you may as well just have your top off. I don't really.
Yeah, because the idea is that you've got no bra under the string vest, and they say if you've got a nice figure, nipplegate we called it, nipplegate, tits out for the lads. You also said, but if your body isn't of that quality, it could look like a sack of sprouts, couldn't it? Or net of sprouts.
I can't even describe what it would look like if I wore a string vest and walked down the street. I just, just.
We should try it and just see.
No.
Just see what the reaction is. Do cat calls.
Oh my God! So that was a shocker.
Yes, that was a shocker. Now, why I've got menopause arse written down here, I don't know.
I don't know. I can't remember. I remember saying it.
Because
I said it.
The subject of your menopause comes up regularly.
Regularly.
Yeah, your night sweats, your when you beat me up and those sort of things. Me having to hide the knives, all that sort of thing is a part of life.
Life.
For you and a lot of ladies of a certain age. But for some point in the last many weeks, you've referred to your menopause arse.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was obviously something to do with arses and sizes, and I just declared it in the middle of the street about menopause arse, and I can't remember why. So, move on.
Okay. I don't know whether the next one is really we can do it. You did liken the announcer at the European Diving Championships to an SS officer.
I did, because we watched, was it the Commonwealth Games?
Oh, we love athletics.
So we watched the Commonwealth Games, and there was a lot of swimming and diving in that, and they went straight on to the European Championships, didn't they? So we were seeing, and we got really quite into it. But and we got used to a couple of announcers who were brilliant. And I think on this day, they went over to the local announcer or something, wasn't it? And normally at the start, the announcer would say, oh, and here we have, most of it was the synchronised that we were watching, wasn't it? Yeah. And they're going to be doing, the forward, what's its name, pike, and this, and you go, oh, right, how lovely. And these announcers went sort of like, they will be doing the forward front fight, but don't stop. It was like, oh my God, it's like a bloody SS officer, It's like, if you don't do it, you'll be shot.
They'd get off that board quick, wouldn't they?
Yeah, my word. Yeah.
And I was also criticising the low one. What's the point of the low board?
Oh.
You just might as well just step in, hadn't you?
Well, no, they do jump up in the air.
Yeah, it was interesting though. We do enjoy the athletics.
We do all that stuff. Yeah,
we're enjoying Strictly at the moment, aren't we?
We are enjoying Strictly. Yeah. No, we like all of them, really, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, Ellie Simmons is brilliant. We always loved Ellie Simmons, the little
swimmer.
Yeah, para swimmer. Yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah,
and we also praise the professional that's with her for being able. Nikita for being able to do all the dart steps with her reduced height.
Until last night, he'd always done it in a standing position. But what was it? Were they doing the paso doble or something?
Yeah, they were doing the paso, yeah.
And so he actually did some of his on his knees and did twisting and all sorts, which was just amazing. Yeah, brilliant.
We often liken ourselves to the dancers, don't we? If only we were there doing exactly the same.
Well, we do laugh and say, if ever we got on one of those programmes, the trouble is, when they do the down on the knees, they'd have to cut while we got up.
Oh yeah, they'd have to, or a whole stream of other dancers should come on and grab us both, or in front of us to hide us getting up.
As we sort of roll over and try and get up. Yeah.
Which brings me on to the blow-up airbed.
Oh God. You're camping at home.
We're camping at home. And I had this bright idea because we've got a blow-up airbed. Maybe we could use the blow-up airbed. It's an aero bed.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean you finish a night's sleep and you eat it. It's aero because it's full of air. Not aero as in the chocolate bar.
Aero bed, finish a nice night and eat it.
Oh, come on. There's the chocolate reference.
Yes, I know. But why finish a nice night and eat it? Wouldn't you just eat it?
I don't know. No, I want to sleep on it first.
Ugh. What? Chocolate?
Yeah, but then you with your night sweats, it'd melt.
Well, with anything. I mean, it's just... you didn't think
Peckish
that
in
one
the
through,
night.
did you?
Peckish in the night. But anyway,
move on.
That was a bad joke of mine. One of the very few bad jokes I make about aero. Anyway, the aero bed, I managed to get it pumped up in the end. It's quite a substantial piece of kit.
Yeah.
Except that it's on the floor rather than
and it
on a
took
base.
a bit of time to actually charge up the pump. And
charge the pump up, then use it. Anyway, I decided not to sleep on it.
Yeah.
You thought you would just...
I'll have a go.
Have a go on it.
I'll see, because you'd said, well, the thing is, it's quite low. So in the middle of the night, when you want to get up for a wee or whatever, it'll be quite a performance.
We'll have to roll out of bed. And
all that stuff.
It wouldn't work.
And I thought, well, I'll have a little go while there was nobody around. I'll just see how funny this is. I was crying with laughter.
I didn't see it.
Because number one, I plonked myself in the middle, and because it's a bit like a waterbed type thing.
Yeah.
So number one, I reverberated up and down quite a bit. And so I was laughing at that. Of course, once you're laughing, you're wobbling up and down as well. So that was quite amusing. And then I thought, oh, well, I'll try and now, once it calms down, imagine me sleeping on it and then turning over in the night. Well, I'll tell you what, I'd have turned over and you'd have flown out the bed. Because the bouncing which would have been around would have been hilarious. And then, of course, I thought, now I'll get off it. That was even funnier because I basically had to pretty much take a roll at it, not a run at it, but you're lying down and I had to sort of throw myself. Oh my God. I mean, I know you say you can sleep through anything, but you would not have slept through that. It was hilarious. And so and then of course I had to scramble up from the floor to actually get up, and no, not a chance. It would have been a good spectator sport.
Next Olympics.
Yeah.
Getting off the aero bed.
Off the aero bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you got against Courtney Love?
Oh no, I haven't. What was
we were watching the Never Mind the Buzzcocks.
I'll tell you what it was. It was because
Never Mind the Buzzcocks.
Yes, her name came up, and you said, "Oh, is she a singer?" And I said, she was with Kurt Cobain and this, that, and the other, and she was and he goes, what sort of a singer was she? I said, well, put it this way, she's not going to end up on my USB stick.
What have you got against her?
Oh, it's just not my music.
She's a bit of a...
I play Celine Dion ballads, for God's sake.
Yeah, of course you do, yeah.
Courtney Love, hardly,
She's a bit of a wild child.
Yeah. Well, not just a wild child, a wild adult, I think.
Oh, is she a wild adult?
Yeah, wild all over the place.
Don't know much about her. I love what I write down here.
Well, share with us too.
Quite light for a big fucker.
Right. This is Strictly.
Oh, it's back to Strictly,
isn't
Strictly.
It?
Right.
And what happened was Hansa.
Oh, Hansa, the wildlife
presenter, who's been fantastic, and he has marvellous hair. He's got dreadlocks, which are almost down to the floor, aren't they?
Almost, yeah.
Down to the floor. Anyway, but he's a chunky chap. And the first time you sort of thought, I'm not quite sure how this is going to go. And I think he did a ballroom.
In Hold, wasn't he, for the first one?
And he floated around the floor. And I actually said, for a big guy, he's very graceful. And then I let it go 3 seconds. And I said, do you think people say that about me?
Yeah. What, you're quite light for a fat fucker.
I mean, bearing in mind, even when I was slim, I was still like a bud in a china shop. So I don't know, what am I, a rhino in a poppy field?
That's a new one. Rhino in a poppy field. Yeah, you do mix your metaphors sometimes.
I do love
brilliant.
Yes.
You do live the mix your metaphors.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, folks, we do take the mickey out of each other quite a lot. So it's not.
Yes.
If ever you feel that Steph's being rude to me, she is.
Yeah.
And if you ever feel that I'm being rude to her, I'm not really. And nothing's a better example of that than when we're ever in the car.
Oh yeah.
We should record when we're in the car.
Oh, that would be
because
hilarious.
often when we're in the car, considering we spend 24/7 together.
Yeah.
We go out and we've been going down to Wales quite a lot just lately.
So it's like 2.5, 3 hours.
Looking at loads of properties, and we stop off and have a bit.
To be honest, you did sleep a lot the last time we went.
yeah, I had a little doze on the way there and the way back, I think.
Well, it's quite funny because we always say, like, we share the driving, that's fine.
Yep.
And you always do the manly thing. I'll get in and start, I'll be fine. And off we go. And you then start either yawning or,
I do try and stifle it.
Oh my God, really? What, with your mouth wide open?
That's me stifling it.
And I say, no, I'm fine. And for some ridiculous reason, you won't actually just say, do you know, could you take over? You come up with all sorts of ridiculousness. And in the end, you said, yes, you really need to take over. So I took over and basically slept the whole way. On the way back...
It's an hour.
On the way
driven
back,
for an hour.
you obviously felt, of a 3-hour journey. So on the way back... you obviously felt quite guilty about that, so you were trying desperately to stay in the driver's seat. And we were on the motorway, and you said to me, do you fancy a coffee? And I was thinking, no, not really, because I want to just go to the loo more. You went, okay. Do you want to stop to the loo? No, fine at the moment. And there was this sort of silence, and then I looked at you and said, do you want me to take over the drive? And you went, oh God, yes, please. Why couldn't just ask?
I didn't like it. I'd driven around all day because we did the journey in the whole day there and back, and looked at 4 houses.
We did.
Which is how we found Blenfoss. But some days I'm fine. Other days I get behind the wheel.
Yeah, but it was on that journey back where one of those things was said about. Is it the map one?
Okay.
What was that? I can't even remember what that was about.
Show me the map, you wanker, you said to me at one point. When we get back home, I know what it was. It was the positioning of the houses and where we were going to see them. And I plotted it out on a map. And you said I got it wrong.
Yes.
And I said, no, you said when you get home, I want you to show me the map, you wanker.
That's right.
Can you... This is... the estate agent looked at it in such a way that...
He wasn't there. He wasn't there. We don't tend to do it in front of people we don't know.
No, that they could, but I didn't need to show you the map because I was right.
Yes, I know.
One of the few occurrences where I was right.
Because then something else happened and we realised you were right and you said, so I don't have to show you the map.
No, that's right. I said it in a very smug voice.
Yes, you did, yes.
But we also had the incident of the flapjack.
Oh, yes.
Because when we try and find somewhere to have a little snack occasionally.
Well, because sometimes there was quite like 45 minutes between house views, and the houses weren't that far apart, were they? So.
In the middle of Wales, where we're going, there's not exactly the abundance of
spar shops
and everything you get in the England, So we found one, didn't we?
Well, yes, and I have to say, first of all, that some of us found it difficult to find the entrance.
Yeah, all right, okay. That's not on my list, so we can't talk about that. Okay, we parked up at this corner shop that was literally on a corner.
Yeah, next to the door.
No, I didn't see the door. I saw there was an old entrance that maybe was used before around the corner. So we both get out the car, and I went one way.
I took 2 steps to the door.
And you never shouted, where are you going?
Well, no, I saw you wandering off.
I'll have a laugh here.
I thought I was probably looking for a bin or something, because you're always emptying the car out. And you're
I'm
sort
not
of looking
the one that
a bit.
leaves it all in there.
You're doing your aimless, look around. And I thought, I was going around the corner now. And then you came back round again, and you looked, and I'm just, and I said, you looking for the door?
It was right.
It's right here.
We parked next to the door.
Yeah.
But when we went in there, we bought 2 coffees and we bought a flapjack.
Flapjack, yes.
Now, I love flapjacks.
Yeah.
The only thing about flapjacks that I find a little bit disturbing is the crumb structure.
It goes everywhere.
The crumbs go everywhere. So my tendency is to find a wrapper or a tissue or something to hold under. On this occasion, the crumbs took over.
Yeah, well, we decided that in the end that your cock was a flapjack magnet because it just ended up in your crotch.
You couldn't have said that any worse.
The
pause after the word cock was
hilarious.
Wasn't really
I think
inviting.
the funniest that you initially went, oh my God, I just can't believe it. I think actually what I said something like, because you were basically, your hands were in your crotch, wasn't there? And I said, stop fiddling with yourself.
Trying to fish out the crumbs.
And you said, trying to fish out the crumbs. Because there seems to... And I said,
they just...
I said, clearly, it's a bit... Your cock's a crumb magnet.
Flapjack magnet.
And then I turned around and then I heard you go, oh, God! Like, what? This is hilarious. just imagine this. So I turned around and the wrapper was in your mouth and the flapjack was in your crutch. It was hilarious. I mean, I was crying with laughter.
Oh, it took you ages to get over. All the way back home, I think we were laughing about that.
Crying with laughter.
Okay, well, I'm afraid we've got to return to nipples now.
Oh, God. What?
As we do so often on this podcast.
What's this one?
It's mine. Oh, is this the ongoing saga of my left nipple?
Oh, but I don't...
It could be, wasn't that always my left foot, wasn't it, was the thing?
But I don't know why you even...
Because you seem to have this desire to beat the shit out of my left nipple. You do it. You can't argue with that
so
fact.
Firstly, I'm not heading for the nipple. I'm just heading...
Nittle.
Nipple.
Yeah, but it just happens as we are all anatomically the same on my chest.
Yeah, it's just the fact that you feel the need to actually get your nipple out and show it to me.
No, I was showing you the swelling. Because you were one night you were on target. You know, if it was ever Olympic sport was called for, it would be you. And you whacked around, and I did say, because it was quite swollen, and it gets more swollen after laughing for some whatever. I don't know why that does. I said if I was a woman, I could probably breastfeed, and so that still didn't make you any less aggressive towards it.
I did say it took a bit more than that, but anyway, carry on.
Anyway. Oh yes, this wasn't my attempt at a joke for once.
Right.
This was a genuine conversation we had, and I misheard you because of your foreign accent. We were talking about, I don't know, was it one of your friends or relatives that went to that French religious place on the trip, or was it you? No.
You talk about Sammy.
Oh, was it Sammy? Oh, it was Sammy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, it was Sammy.
Sammy, who was taken on the trip by her, was it grandma, I think?
That's right. Sorry, Sammy, it was you, wasn't it? Yes. And you said...
They went to Lord's.
I said, why would they take her to see the cricket? And you repeated it, Lords.
I said, no, Lords.
It's Lourdes.
Yeah, Lourdes.
No, they don't. You sound like Poirot.
Lourdes.
Lourdes.
Yes.
Lourdes.
Lords.
No, Lord. Oh, this is what we had. So I did genuinely say, why don't they take Sam to the cricket?
Oh, it was hilarious. I just...
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is with accents, that to me, I am saying... Lords and Lords sound different to me in the same way as I remember.
It's the same.
I always remember the pool car incident because I used to, when I worked as a consultant, I used to have a company car, but it wasn't a company car as in it was my car. It was a pool car. And everybody in the car, when I was telling them it was a pool car, was thinking, what's the dance got to do with? And I said, no, it's a car from a pool. It's a pool car. I was just,
pool car.
You're saying pool car.
Yeah.
And I was like, so yes, I have a bit of a problem.
Did you get through your British citizenship test originally?
What, from tooting to join the rest of the world?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like what it was. Just some of these things, I think, can we say this or can we get around this? It's some of the expressions. You ever go at me sometimes for going over the top, and then you sit there some nights and you come out with something, and it just floors me.
Okay.
We're back to Strictly. We're watching Strictly, and Fleur East was doing the Eurovision one. And they were doing Waterloo, weren't they, or something?
Well, they're doing the ABBA, Waterloo,
Waterloo, ABBA. And you said, we were talking about ABBA and brilliant. Yeah, you said about ABBA and these two beautiful... He said, and there's a lot of men, obviously, at home wanking over ABBA. I mean, just came out with that.
Well, no, what I was saying was...
Don't try and get around
when ABBA first did Waterloo in the Eurovision, it was unheard of. I mean, two women standing on top of a piano and dancing, because at that point, everything was with a guitar on a, very Val Doonican-esque, wasn't it? Sitting on a chair. So to have two gorgeous women, and I just said there was an awful lot of men who had a moment
You didn't. Don't try and hide it. You said.
I know.
You actually. You're trying all coy now. So men had a moment. What's this? Men had a moment. Oh, I'm just going to the bathroom, darling, for a moment. Just good God. And then. Oh, then you referred in the next sentence. You referred to one of the dancers as being stiff and lumpy.
Oh God, what was that?
That was one of them.
No, yeah, that was Taylor. Was it Tyler?
Tyler.
Tyler. And I was trying to do. I said Craig will tell you in a moment. He's a bit stiff and lumpy. I don't think Craig quite used those terms, but he did say the same thing. Yeah.
You introduced me to a new term yesterday.
Did I?
Yeah.
What's that?
Detransitioning.
Oh yes, I've not heard of it.
I thought I was up to speed on all the gender reassignments and gender what we should call people. We try to be as politically correct as we can. We get it wrong.
It was because I'd seen an item on my Facebook page where somebody who I follow had done 25 portraits, and I think I'm right in saying they were portraits of females, and I'm saying that with I hope I'm not upsetting anybody because they may not. Well, I know, but they may, but my assumption, and I'm not sure whether she actually wrote it as such as to whether they were he, she's, females, whatever. But anyway, I looked at them and I thought there were 25 portraits of females, but she'd said they were females that had detransitioned, and I thought, I don't know what that is, so I had to quickly
Google
look
it.
I did, and I looked it up on Wikipedia, and they are people who have transitioned, i.e. socially or medically, so they've either had an operation or they've just started to live as a different sex, and have now decided to go back. And we'd never heard of it, had we? And we were just saying, my God, that must be quite traumatic.
It's awful. It's worse one way around, isn't it? If you had your bits chopped off and then you want them back.
Yeah.
I mean, do you now say, I'd like to have gender reassignment, but can you stick it in the fridge in case I want it sewn back on later?
No, that's a bit.
It's all right the other way, isn't it? Because you just.
Well, I'd never heard of it before.
No.
So I'm assuming that as it's now a named issue, that it's obviously happening quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it must be quite. I can't imagine it's any less traumatic. Because a lot of it's socially and not necessarily done for an operation.
So you can have a sort of a try before you buy type of thing, can't you?
The whole point is you genuinely. You do that anyway, because you don't just say, oh, today, do you know what, I think I want to be the other sex. You tend to have gone through a process and assessed it. And so it's quite interesting that they go through all that, then they have the transition, and then have to, and I haven't read into why, whether it's just too stressful and they're not accepted, so they feel it's easier to go back, or whether they don't actually want to be that sex anymore, I don't know. But it was a new one on me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we did that after we did the stiff and lumpy bits. So last night, oh my God, last night we had one of the most hilarious sessions, didn't we? Sat here last night.
Oh, we were
where
laughing.
You had already had a couple of
Proseccos,
bevies, and you turned to me. I think you slapped me or something for doing it, and then your hand went back.
Oh, yes.
And knocked your Prosecco glass.
And I, yes, because you said, how the hell did you do that? You hit me with the left arm. And I said, no, I didn't hit you with my right arm, I hit you with my left. And then I swung my arm back
and
it
caught the edge
knocked
of your
my glass
Prosecco
over.
glass.
And I said, oh, whoops. And you went, oh, have you knocked your Prosecco over? And I said, don't be bloody ridiculous, because there wasn't any Prosecco in it.
And then we went through the obvious scientific of Schrodinger's cat in the box is you never know whether there's Prosecco in the glass until you look in it, and the Prosecco can't be in the glass and the glass at the same time. But then I think the best one was even the Hadron Collider isn't fast enough to get this moment
when there's still
Prosecco in your glass. it's in there for such a short period of time. Even the Hadron Collider couldn't be able to find it, you know, and that particle goes around so fucking fast.
Yeah.
But no, so that
no,
was
I don't
a
think
laugh.
I've ever knocked over a Prosecco glass that's got Prosecco in it.
No, that's it. That was it. So that's really the sum total of our last couple of 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know how long it is since we did the last podcast.
Well, it's a very long time ago, but I'm just trying to think of all because the thing is now we're not doing shows. Well, the last show we did
We haven't talked about that. We did
Fair.
Contemporary Arts Fair, where Sammy was there and Fiona was
Yes.
there, fellow Blooms.
Yes, we had 4 Blooms artists
Yes,
there, which was wonderful.
It was wonderful, and we were put up in this wonderful hotel run by the Hexter Andrews, the Hexter Andrews Hotel, a 5-star, Michelin
amazing.
5-star.
Yeah, Sammy is the hostess with the mostess.
Oh God, the hostess with the mostess food. Bloody hell!
I know.
We were fed well.
We were.
Yeah, so,
what thought was quite funny was because, like, obviously, it started with the PV on Friday, and we went back quite late and had food at Sammy's late, which was lovely. And then,
yes, we did, didn't we?
Yes, and then Sammy said, "Oh, what time were you all getting up to go off the next day?" So we said, and we came down. And you know, we were offered everything.
It was like one of the top London hotels when you go to breakfast
and they
there
say
was
smoked
nothing.
salmon. Would you like?
Would you like smoked salmon? Would you like bacon? Would you like?
Yeah. And we were like, oh no! But then there were croissants being cooked, so that was lovely. And we were like, oh no, that's enough, lovely. And it was all out, and we all sat down, and off we jolly well went. And then obviously Sunday the same thing. And then we stayed an extra night because we were so exhausted.
I rang the reception and say, "Can you accommodate us for an extra night?"
for an extra night.
They managed to fit us in,
which was lovely. And then Monday we were just at the smaller table in the kitchen, which was also lovely. But what I thought was hilarious was that the day after we'd left, and Phil went downstairs for breakfast, and he ran back up to Sammy and said, "There's no breakfast laid out this morning."
Oh, Phil, I'm so sorry. So sorry. We'll have
Must
to
be
do
something wrong.
Yeah. Oh,
but
dear.
absolutely fantastic. We had a lovely time at the show. We had a lovely time staying with Sammy and Phil. Mm-hmm. But it was so nice at the show to be able to wander around and see the other Blooms and how they're doing. But I really love that particular show. It's a nice setup, as in it's easy to spend your time getting ready. We actually have time to take everything down again, and I really like the organisers and the staff. They always come round, and this time the music and the speakers were right by me, but they were, turning all, making sure that I could still chat away to everybody and everything. But no,
well
it was
organised,
a lovely show.
But we can't talk much about our art because we're not doing much at the moment. Although you're doing some pieces, commissioned for one of your collectors.
Well, I've got 2 commissions really on the way. I've got the one for Dave Leyland and his little cat Tilly.
Oh yeah, you're doing a little needle-felted cat, isn't it? And you're also doing a teddy bear Labrador.
Yes,
and
for Zoe.
A pup as well to go with it.
Yes.
Which is lovely. So you're able to do your art.
Yeah.
Sat on a chair with a little table.
Yeah.
I can't, sadly, go and do any art at the moment because all my stuff's in store. So I can't wait to get to our new place and get a new cabin set up, really.
Well, that's it. I mean, they've all been ordered and built and everything. We just got to wait for the date so we can get them put up.
So there we are. So next time we come to you, we might be doing it from Glastonbury.
Yeah.
We might be doing it from Glastonbury. That would be an interesting one. We'll try not to leave it too long, although we said this last time, but you'll have to forgive us. We will get back onto a more regular structure when we get into our new place. We still need to do a videoed one, I think. We need to do a video.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to do a video one.
The nice thing about not having videos, I don't have to worry about my hair looking stupid like it does every morning.
So why do you never worry about that normally?
Well, I suppose.
So you don't worry about it if I'm looking at it, but if anybody else was, thanks. I mean so much to you, don't I?
Well, you're used to it, aren't you?
Yeah. You can let them one, and I always say...
Nice hair.
Nice hair. You say, oh, God, and you go and look in the mirror, oh, yeah. And you just... and then you just put it down again. Oh, dear. Well, I don't think we've got much to say. we'll say we're mid prime ministership at the moment. We haven't got a prime minister at the moment.
My word.
Well, we've got
we
one.
have. She hasn't left yet, has she?
I don't know. She might as
But
well
I
have
did
done.
say
She's
to
no
you,
fucking good.
for things to remember for quizzes in the future.
Yes.
The one prime minister who was seen in by a queen and seen out by a king.
Right. Oh yes. Trust.
That's a first.
Well, there was anybody. There must have been others
Why? How?
around the period of other kings dying, and there must have been. I'll have to look that
Name
up.
me one. What, it was seen in by a king and
I'll just say a name.
seen in by a queen and out by a king? I doubt it.
People will be writing in, you know.
Will they?
We'll have streams of people writing
They
in.
won't know where we are.
The forwarding address. Yes, the shortest serving prime minister in British history. That's a definite.
That's a definite.
44 days. That's not
Yeah.
bad, is it really?
No,
44 days.
But
to
they said the
cock up
process
everything.
to pick her was longer. Wasn't
Yes, yeah. 6 weeks to pick her and less time to
Yeah.
have her in or whatever. That's it, I think. Well, then we can say much more now. We hope that you all stay well and safe, and
it? Yes, I need to get on to my research of
you need to get
Blenfos.
your research. I need to go and clean the kitchen. And see, we are real people. We're not just voices on this podcast. We have real things to do.
We do.
And we enjoy doing them. And we enjoy speaking to you all on this podcast. So we will say goodbye, and we'll see you shortly. So it's goodbye from me.
Had a good night from him.
Good night. That was Filaments and Fibre with Steve Brooks and Stephanie Lester.
I think we should do a word count of the name nipple.
Ooh, 270.
Ooh.